you have to find the zeros, so you could look at the list of potential zeros from part C and try to use synthetic division. This is what I deal with every day. So we find those possible zeros and we use synthetic division to see if the remainder is 0. Using synthetic division, we see that -2 is a 0, so that makes x plus 2 a factor. Then we write what's left, 1x cubed, 2x squared, minus 2x plus 3. And now we use synthetic division with this polynomial, and we find out -3 is a 0 since we get a remainder of 0, so x plus 3 is the factor. And when you do that, you're left with 1x squared minus x plus 1. This is not factorable, so right here is your final answer. This is completely factored. 8F asks you to find the zeros. So since this is factored, x plus 2 is a factor, means x equals -2 is a 0. X plus 3 is a factor, x equals -3 is a 0. Since this one's not factorable, you have to use quadratic formula. And when we use quadratic formula, -b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Simplify that and it breaks down to 1 plus or minus the square root of -3, which the square root of -3 is I square root 3. So your final answer, x equals -2, x equals -3, and x equals 1 plus or minus I square root 3 over 2. Number 9, find all the zeros, real and complex. You're not going to see anything like those in class or on the final. Those are much more difficult than what you're going to see. Just due to time restraints, I kept it a lot easier than those problems. You could look at the answers on the practice final, but you will not see something that difficult on the actual final exam. We'll look at one that's a little easier in class on Wednesday. Number 10, you didn't have to do that. That was crossed out. And then number 11. Number 11 is just asking you to find the vertex, because to find the maximum height and when it's going to hit that maximum point, you find the vertex. X equals -b over 2a. So x equals -50 over 2 times -16. And you get 25 over 16, and that's in seconds for time. To see what that height will be at 25 over 16 seconds, we plug in 25 over 16 for x. You can type this right into your calculator, and you would get a height of approximately 54.06 feet. For number 12, also same type of question, looking for the vertex. -b over 2a, so -1500 over 2 times -1/4. That gives you x equals 3,000, which would be your maximum price to maximize revenue. To find the maximum revenue, you would plug in 3,000, plug that into the function, and you get $2,250,000 as your maximum revenue. For 13a, asking you to sketch that graph. Since it's using transformations, the function is -x plus 1 quantity squared minus 2. Plus 1 on the inside moves the vertex left 1 unit. Minus 2 on the outside moves it down 2 units. And then since it's negative on the outside, that reflects it over the x is flipped upside down. So you get this function for f of x. On 13e, you had a graph f of x plus 1. So the original graph looks like this. Excuse me, I'm going to redo this problem over here. F of -x plus 1. The easiest way to do that problem, you could either take the original points, plug them in, and see what you get for your new point, or plus 1 on the outside shifts the graph up 1, Negative x on the inside reflects it over the y-axis, which is not something that we discussed in class. So you will not see something like this on the final exam. I didn't realize that was what it was asking, but 13E, you don't have to worry about 13E. You can cross that one out. You won't see one like that. 14, you could see that, writing a function based from the graph. We did something like that on test number 2. Looking at the zeros, -2 means x plus 2 is a factor. Here, the 0 is +1, but since it just touches and goes back up, that means it's multiplicity 2. So x plus 2 times x minus 1 squared. And you can leave it just like that. You don't have to multiply that. And then in B, the absolute value function, we know its absolute value because absolute value is V-shaped. So the vertex is shifted 1, 2, 3 units to the left, so +3 on the inside, and it's shifted up 4 units, so +4 on the outside. So absolute value, x plus 3, +4.